Welcome back. Despite his super over busy schedule, despite just returning back from China hours ago, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi had in mind that he is going to say thank you to our Egyptian national team in Cameroon despite the defeat in front of Senegal and despite failing to return back with the 8th African princess. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi had a very important meeting with his Chinese counterpart in Beijing, and yesterday he was receiving Djibouti president who is here accompanied by a high-ranking delegation in an official visit to Cairo. But far from all these activities, far from his super busy schedule, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was keen to say that the Egyptian national team gained the respect of all people, gained the respect of the whole world. And he also highlighted the importance of taking into consideration that our confidence in them is endless and that the Egyptian people is expecting from all our players and the coaching staff to do a lot in the coming period, particularly in their efforts to be exerted to qualify to the World Cup. The World Cup in Qatar is coming that close, and we should exert the utmost efforts to join the elite of the football teams, the national teams who are going to compete for the prestigious trophy for the World Cup. Well, to shed more light on what happened yesterday in Cameroon, to shed more light on the performance of our team, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Mr. Mohamed Adel, our sports analyst. Mr. Adel, a very good morning to you, sir. Hello?
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Adel.
Good morning.
I'm not going to say that we do not feel sorry. I'm not going to say that yesterday we had such hopes that our team is going to return with the 8th trophy. But as I said, our team really gained respect and admiration of the whole world, and particularly the Egyptian people, the political leadership. And when we listen to the statements which were released, or to be accurate, the conversation with the Minister of Sports and Youth, Dr. Ashraf Sobhi, in the locker room, we would be definitely sure of what I've said. How do you see our reaction, sir? Whether from the political leadership, whether from the state's top executive of sport, Dr. Sobhi, or from even the reactions of the Egyptians on social media?
Well, deserved for the Egyptian national team to be respected after the performance they did in the AFCON, because it was beyond our imaginations to do that performance in the AFCON based on the circumstances, based on the change happened in the managers after getting Carlos Queiroz, which was a very surprising decision by Ahmed Mujahid, the ex-EFA president. But what we saw until yesterday in the AFCON, we should put hats off for the Egyptian players, put hats off for the management, put hats off for Carlos Queiroz, who did create a good team to beat many rank A teams, like Ivory Coast, like Morocco, like Cameroon, the host. We could not expect that at all before the AFCON. If you ask any Egyptian watching Egyptian football, watching the national team, what we'll do in the AFCON, we'll pass. We will answer you. We will pass the group stage for being third or second by far in the performance of the first team. We will not pass the round of 16, but last night we were playing the final versus one of the strongest teams in Africa, which is Senegal, who did a great game versus Egypt. And I cannot say that they don't deserve the cup. No, Senegal deserves to be the winners, to be the champions for the AFCON. Also, the Egyptian team deserves to be the champions of the AFCON. We watched it yesterday, a great, tough game between two deserved teams for the championship. So hard luck for the Egyptian team. They did well. Everything was well by the circumstances happened for the injuries and the suspensions. We did great. Getting out of the games by a draw, a scoreless draw or goalless draw versus Cameroon. Vincent Aboubakar scored goals more than Senegal and Egypt. He scored 8 goals. Egypt, all the team scored 4 goals, but you let him not to score him and Kambi in the semi-finals. They didn't go well versus the defensive line, the Egyptian defensive line. It's a big victory for the management, a big victory for Carlos Queiroz, big victory for the team.
And if you permit me, sir, to interrupt here, you know, with all my respect to Mendy, to the best goalkeeper in the world, of Senegal, of Chelsea, but
he never
in this, in this competition, in this tournament, Abu Gabal is the best. I mean, Mendy was not exposed to what Abu Gabal was exposed to throughout the tournament. I think we are the only team which played for 4 consecutive matches for 120 minutes and to be exposed to penalties for 3 times. Abu Gabal yesterday was man of the match, but also he was such a top player, a top goalkeeper throughout the tournament. In your opinion, is it Mendy or Abu Gabal, far from what happened on the ground, who deserved to be the best goalkeeper of this edition of AFCON?
Well, Abu Gabal deserves to be the best player, not only the best goalkeeper in the AFCON. Mohamed Abu Gabal deserves to be the best player, not Sadio Mane, with all my respect, not Edouard Mendy, with all my respect, but we saw Abu Gabal versus Senegal itself yesterday. In most of the sports websites who put numbers for the players, Abu Gabal takes 10 out of 10. Abu Gabal yesterday saved 8 attempts, 6 of them inside the box, and he did save a penalty kick in the first 5 minutes from Sadio Mane, who is chosen afterwards to be the best player of the AFCON. He saved a penalty kick in the penalty race at the end. Abu Gabal did a great tournament. Abu Gabal deserves to be the best player, not only the best goalkeeper in this AFCON.
Sir, you were speaking about Carlos Queiroz and how Carlos Queiroz proved to be a really veteran, experienced, good coach. But with all my respect, his faults are fatal. Yesterday, this substituting Mustafa Mohamed with Marwan. I thought that this was very far from what we all thought the match is going to go through or to move forward. With what he had done with Mohamed Sharif against Cameroon, we thought that if he is going just to put out Marmoush or Mustafa Mohamed Sharif is going to go through the whole issue, since already Zizou was there. How do you see this move, particularly of Marwan?
Well, it was too early to substitute Mustafa Mohamed with Marwan Hamdi, because before Mustafa got out of the pitch, he did a great attempt to the Senegalese goal. He was doing great yesterday, one of the best games for Mustafa Mohamed yesterday. But I believe the role of Marwan Hamdi when he gets into the pitch is very different from the role of Mustafa Mohamed. We didn't watch Marwan Hamdi to be the first defensive line for the Egyptian team. But ironically, Marwan Hamdi did some dangerous scenes in the game. Marwan Hamdi was very near to score a goal for the Egyptian team in the second half. Oh, not one goal, but 2 goals. But he missed the 2 attempts. But it was too early to do this substitution. At least Mustafa Mohamed with Marwan Hamdi. I believe Carlos Queiroz should be patient enough to keep Mustafa Mohamed till the end of the 90 minutes. Then after the extra times, we'll see what will happen. But I believe this was the. I could not say it's a fatal fault, but it was too early to do this substitution.
And it ended with this. But I'm going also to ask you to comment on what I'm going to ask or to say. Mohamed Abdel Men'em, it was not his day regarding the penalties, with the penalty which he caused in the very first minutes of the game, and Abu Gabal did it, and he saved a penalty from Sadio Mane. How I would just put Mohamed Abdel Men'em in the same situation to be one of those included into the penalty shootouts by the end of the match, and after Mohamed Lashin also missed. Why Mo did not, after Mohamed Abdel Men'em missed in the penalties by the end of the match, why I entered Mohamed Lashin not to not Mo to enter and to give confidence once again to the players instead of putting Lashin under this kind of stress? For me, this was a big question, a big question mark.
It's a big question for all people. Even J.D. Carragher of Liverpool, the ex-England and Liverpool player, was asking why Mo didn't go for the fourth kick instead of Mohamed Lashin. Why waiting for the fifth penalty kick? Really, I have no answer for this. Really, I have no answer for this. But
okay, let's learn from our mistakes and speak about what's going to happen tomorrow, because tomorrow is another day, and the president, the minister, spoke about the coming encounters against Senegal to qualify for the World Cup as now our target. How do you see yesterday's match as a kind of a rehearsal, or a kind of a big lesson which we should have learned to benefit from all our mistakes and to know well the points of strength and points of weakness of the Senegalese team to be able to conquer them in the coming 2 matches, inshallah?
Well, concerning the game yesterday, you're playing versus a well-rested team, and a very strong team and well rested, and this is an important point. You played an extra 90 minutes of more than Senegal. You played 2 days before the final game. It was a great rehearsal. At the end, you ended the game with a goalless draw. You went to the penalty kicks. You didn't lose in the 90 minutes or even in the extra times. We watched it, and we did watch, and we all know how strong is the Senegalese team, how strong and very talented is the Senegalese players. Apart of Sadio Mane, we had Kalilou Koulibaly, we had Bonassar, we had Sis, we had Sheikh Kouyaté, we had Ismail Sarr of Watford. They are very talented players. They did all their best to win in the 90 minutes, to win in the original time, but they did fail. They played in the extra time with less effort, but they did fail. Where I believe being had a rest before that type of games will differ with the players. I believe the 2 final qualifications games will be another story, another big story.
Mohamed Salah already left to Liverpool on a private jet, and the national team returned back to Egypt, even with Al Ahly players who are going to have another trip to Abu Dhabi to participate in the Club World Cup. I think Mosimani's mission with الأهلي players who were with the national team, whether سلية الشناوي, أيمن أشرف, Mohamed Sharif, Mohamed Abdel Menem. I think his mission with them is going to be psychological more than anything else. If you please, in brief, tell me your vision regarding this.
Well, I believe the psychological role of Moussimani will be most of his time will be with Mohamed Sharif, but Amr Sulaya, Ayman Ashraf, Mohamed Shinawi, and even Mohamed Abdel Menem, they did great tournaments. They did great championship with the Egyptian team. They did all the best. I believe he will encourage them more and more for their performance in the tournament, and the role will be very easy for these players. I believe he will sit with Mohamed Sharif for what happened at least versus Cameroon, although it was a very technical role, and I did approve it, and I say yes for Carlos Queiroz for what happened, because as we said that it was a technical, there was a small technical role for Mohamed Sharif in the last 15 or 18 minutes versus Cameroon, but he didn't do it, the team didn't do it, so I get the player who will play the penalty kicks, although it was very risky to put a player in the last 2 or 3 minutes to shoot a penalty, decisive penalty kick. But I believe Moussimani, his role will be easier because the players did well with the Egyptian team. They didn't get a big loss versus Senegal. They didn't get a big loss with a high-ranked team. So I believe his role will be very easy to encourage them, to make them dig in with the Al-Ahli in the next game.
Let's wish them Al-Ahli the best of luck on Tuesday against the Brazilian side at Palmeiras to book a ticket in the final of the Club World Cup currently taking place in Qatar. Thank you very much, sir. In Abu Dhabi, I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohamed Adel, our sports analyst, for your input, and have a very good day. And before we go, thank you to every single person in our national team, to all our players, to Hamdi Winch, who was playing with 7 stitches in his head, to the manly performance they did throughout the tournament. And as President Sisi said, they do have our full confidence and respect, and inshallah they are going to move forward and to book a ticket in Qatar 2022 World Cup. Right after the short break, we are going to be back with more.
بلدنا بلد سواح فيها الأجانب تتفسح، وفي كل عام وقت المروح بتبقى مش عايزة تروح وتسيب بلدنا. مصر بلدنا بلد سواح فيها الأجانب تتفسح، وفي كل عام وقت المروح بتبقى مش عايزة تروح وتسيب بلدنا. مصر جميلة مصر جميلة